The reverberations continue here in the U.S. What can be done now that North Korea is apparently part of the potentially dangerous club of nuclear nations? And in Washington, the charges are already flying back and forth. Which one of our presidents might be responsible for how things got this way? And now, where to from here? It is a dangerous development in our world. That is where we will begin the broadcast here tonight with our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell at the State Department. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Tonight, the U.S. is still trying to establish whether North Korea's test was a success or fizzled out. Either way, the U.S. still sees it as a serious threat. Once again today, all eyes are on North Korea, trying to learn more about its claims of a nuclear test. At North Korea's border with China, sightseers and soldiers from both sides. And in the air, sophisticated Japanese monitors measuring for radiation. Was there a nuclear test? The underground explosion was small by nuclear standards. One theory, the conventional trigger failed to detonate enough of the plutonium, the nuclear material.
That probably means their design is defective. It didn't go off completely. They got a fizzle, an explosion, but a smaller explosion than they wanted. What that does is drive them to more tests.
But few experts doubt that Kim Jong-il's regime tried to explode a nuclear device. But why? What does North Korea want? To become a nuclear power and have direct talks with the U.S. U.S. Ambassador Christopher Hill, in charge of Korea diplomacy, has had dinner with his North Korean counterparts, but says talks are futile.
The problem is not bilateral contacts. The problem is not the ability to get messages directly to them. The problem is they don't like what we're saying.
Instead, the U.S. is counting on China to apply pressure. But what will China do? Today at the United Nations, the Chinese resisted U.S. and Japanese proposals to intercept North Korean ships, fearing a military confrontation and a flood of refugees if the regime collapsed.
They will withhold the most severe actions for fear that it could cause instability in North Korea.
Talks continue at the United Nations. Secretary of State Rice may move up a trip to Asia, perhaps leaving within a week. Another sign, Brian, of how seriously the U.S. considers the North Korean threat.
Andrea Mitchell starting us off at the State Department tonight. Andrea, thank you for that. And now to the noise that this blast